This is the Schwinn Bonafide men and women mountain bike, and I've spent real time riding it on paved paths, neighborhood streets, crushed gravel, and a handful of mellow single-track loops. I picked it up as a budget-friendly way to get back into riding shape, and I wanted something that could handle casual trails without stressing me out or draining my wallet. In my opinion, that's exactly the lane this bike stays in. Key features that stood out to me are the 17-inch aluminum frame, the 29-inch wheels, the front suspension fork, the 24-speed Shimano trigger shifters, and the mechanical disc brakes. If you're new to bikes, 29-inch wheels, people often call them 29ers, roll over bumps and roots more smoothly because of their bigger diameter. Mechanical disc brakes use a cable to pinch a rotor at the hub, which works better in rain and mud than rim brakes, though they need a bit more hand strength than hydraulic discs. The fork is a basic coil fork with about 80 to 100 millimeters of travel, which just means it compresses to soak up smaller hits and trail chatter. And the 24-speed setup gives you plenty of range for hills without making shifting complicated. From my experience, the first hurdle was assembly and tuning. It arrives mostly put together, but I still had to mount the handlebar, front wheel, pedals, and seat post, and then do the fine-tuning. I used Allen keys and a screwdriver and took my time. Out of the box, the rear derailleur needed a quarter turn of barrel adjuster to stop the gears from skipping. The front brake also rubbed a bit until I loosened the caliper, squeezed the lever, and retightened it so the rotor was centered. None of this is hard if you've watched a couple short how-to videos, but I won't sugarcoat it. If you've never adjusted a derailleur or disc brake before, plan on either learning the basics or paying a shop to do a safety check and tune. After that, it's settled in nicely. Cables stretched a hair over the next couple rides, so I gave the shifters one more tiny twist of tension, and it's been solid. On the road and bike paths, the Bonafide feels steady and confidence-building. It's not a light bike. Mine weighed right around the listed 39 pounds, and you feel that when you accelerate or climb. The 2.25-inch knobby tires hum on asphalt and add rolling resistance, which is normal for mountain tread. The fork doesn't have a lockout, so when I stand up and mash on a hill, I can feel a bit of bob as the fork compresses and rebounds. None of that ruined the ride for me. It just reminded me that this is a trail-leaning bike, not a fast hybrid or road bike. I found a rhythm where I sit and spin a slightly lower gear, and the 29-inch wheels keep momentum nicely once you're up to speed. On gravel and green-rated single track, the bike makes a lot of sense. The large wheels smooth out washboard and small roots, and the coil fork takes the edge off buzz and little hits that would otherwise tire out my hands. The mechanical discs have been reliable for me in damp conditions. They're predictable and don't squeal once bedded in, though they do require a firm squeeze on steeper slopes. The 24-speed Shimano Easy Fire triggers are easy to use, and once dialed, shifts are consistent. I can feel the entry-level nature of the components when I shift hard under load up a climb. It's better to ease off the pedals a touch, click the gear, then get back on it. Do that and it's smooth. Comfort-wise, I did make changes. The stock saddle felt fine for short spins, but turned uncomfortable for me around the 40-minute mark. I swapped to a saddle I know fits my sit bones, and that made a huge difference. The included nylon pedals work for cruising, but I prefer a grippier platform with metal pins, especially if the trail gets bumpy or my shoes get wet. The grips are basic, but okay. If I keep the bike long-term, I might switch to something a bit softer. Small tweaks like these go a long way. Fit is important here. I'm 5'9" with a 31-inch inseam, and the 17-inch frame feels right once I set saddle height and adjusted the handlebar angle. If you're around 5'4", standover height with the 29-inch wheels could feel tall, and if you're pushing 6'2", the cockpit might feel a bit short unless you play with stem length and seat position. It's a one-size approach meant to cover a wide range, which is convenient, but not perfect. If you can, throw a leg over a similar 29er before you buy to make sure you like the stance. One small note, I did notice a bit of toe overlap at very slow speeds during tight turns, which goes away once you're rolling normally. Trail limits are worth being honest about. On smooth dirt and mellow single track, the bike is fun and stable. On chunky rock sections, fast descents, or bigger roots and drops, you feel the fork get overwhelmed and the brakes near their limit. That's expected for this category. The frame and double wall rims are tough, and the bike's rated up to about 300 pounds. But hammering rough trails at high speed or sending jumps isn't what it's built for. If that's your plan, you'll outgrow it quickly and should look at a higher spec hardtail with a better fork and hydraulic discs. The look is clean. The matte black with red accents has that classic mountain vibe without trying too hard. The 29-inch wheels fill out the frame and give it a confident stance. I appreciate that the bike feels sturdy rather than flimsy. I haven't needed to true the wheels yet, and the quick-release axles make basic transport easy. Just know it uses older standards like a straight steerer and quick-release hubs, so the upgrade path to newer high-end components is limited. I treat this as a ride-it-as-is platform, with contact point upgrades and basic maintenance, rather than a project build. It's perfect for someone getting into riding who wants one bike that can do paved paths, neighborhood loops, crushed gravel, and light trails without stress. It's also a good pick for fitness rides if you prefer stability and comfort over speed. From my experience, I hop on for 30 to 90 minutes after work, mix a bit of path with a short dirt loop, and get exactly the workout I want without worrying about babying the bike. I'd recommend this for beginners, casual riders, or anyone returning to cycling who wants a dependable mountain-style bike that's forgiving and easy to live with. If you dream about technical single-track, long, steep descents, or you want a bike you'll upgrade part by part into a performance machine, I'd steer you towards something with a better fork and hydraulic brakes right out of the gate. If your rides are mostly paths and green trails, the Bonafide checks the boxes and keeps costs down. A few practical notes from my rides. Expect to do a post-assembly tune-up after the first couple outings as cables settle. Keep the chain clean and lightly lubed, and learn the basic brake caliper centering trick to eliminate rotor rub. These tiny skills make ownership much smoother. I've had no weird noises beyond normal drivetrain sounds, and nothing has worked loose since I torqued everything properly. The weight is noticeable carrying it upstairs, but on the trail it fades into the background as the bike rolls and tracks predictably. In conclusion, the Schwinn Bonafide delivers exactly what it promises. A solid, accessible 29er hardtail that's comfortable on mixed surfaces and light trails, with modern touches like disc brakes and trigger shifters, at a price that makes sense for getting started. In my opinion, it's a confidence booster and a great fitness partner, as long as you keep expectations realistic and treat it as a recreational trail bike rather than a performance rig. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your questions or your own ride stories. Thank you for watching.